Hey Buns, so we've just got a ton of new information about patch 6.2, which will be releasing on August 23rd with the live letter that just happened today. So today I'm going to cover all of that new info. This is from live letter 72. This is part 2. Part 1 was the previous live letter, which I did already do a recap of. I'll put a link to that in the description box down below. But I will try to separate this video into make it mostly non-spoilery. Maybe at the very end of the video, I'll show you a couple of screenshots, maybe a bit of footage that I would consider to be spoilery. So this should be safe if you are not caught up with the story yet. With today's live letter, we've also gotten the new patch trailer for patch 6.2, which I will link to in the description box down below. So you can watch it after this video, or you can watch it now, but come back, right? Don't forget about me. Come back. Of course, one of the most exciting things that comes with any major patch is the main story quest, which I can't say much about, but we know that it will unlock a new dungeon and a new trial. The dungeon being the Fell Court of Troia, and the trial is as yet unknown. It is secret. As for side quests, we know that Tataru's grand endeavor will continue, and in patch 6.25, which should come out 2 months after patch 6.2 drops, we're going to get new Hildebrand quests, which will unlock new relic weapon quests, keeping in mind that this time around, the relic weapons are Manderville themed, so mandatory to do Hildebrand now, if you want to do the relic. Also in patch 6.25, there will be new Beast Tribe quests centering around the Omicrons, which are going to be gathering type, similar to how the Klettari Beast Tribe quests worked in Shadowbringers. The mount is a space jellyfish, which is super unique and cool. I absolutely love it. Hey, be one of the first to get it, and it's other people who will be jelly. For more screenshots and information about the Omicron Beast Tribe, I'll put that in the spoiler section because I don't want to show footage of their area. We are also going to get the new Pandemonium raids. Yes, that does mean a new Savage tier because it is an even numbered patch, so you know we are going to get a new Savage tier, though this time around the Savage mode will be releasing 1 week after the patch, so people that like to go for week 1 clears are going to be able to spend patch week actually enjoying the raid story, enjoying the main story content, and not feeling pressure to zip through it like as fast as possible so they can just get into the raids. We have seen a bit of one of the raid bosses, and his name is Proto Carbuncle. Yes, he is a carbuncle actually, though maybe he should eat something because seems like he's not himself when he's hungry. We got a glimpse at some of the new gear in this patch, including the new high item level crafted gear, looking pretty knightly for tank and melee. There's even like armored bits for the bard set. The healer set looks kind of like Dark Souls meets the Carnival of Venice to me, though my favorite is definitely the caster set. It kind of looks like there's a hanging rosary on the robe or something reminiscent of that. I guess something summoner might need to try to get their carbuncle back under control. Purge the demons out of your carbuncle. The new tombstone gear looks pretty good, though what catches my eye about it is the like opalescent plating that you see on some of the weapons. I think the tank set looks the best. Monk set looks pretty good, but it's kind of hard to see, but with the awkward way that he's crouched down. And finally, we got some new Mog Station glams. I'm just kidding. It's not. It's raid gear. Yes, it looks amazing. It's like, whenever this was shown on stream, the whole, like, all of chat just lost their minds because I've never seen quite so flashy VFX on gear before in Final Fantasy 14 before, ever. This feels like a next step, like an evolution of gear that you can get in this game. So something really, really cool to strive for. I personally can't get over how good Dragoon looks. Also, from Pandemonium, Abyssos, and onward, the number of books, that is Abyssos Mythos 2 books that you will need to buy hands, head, or feet gear will decrease from 6 to 4, so it'll be easier to get that raid gear. For those of y'all who are still leveling up, duty support will be added for various Realm Reborn and Heavensward dungeons, with various improvements also coming to the main story quest for Realm Reborn. Thorn March Normal will be completely revamped, though Yoshiyuki said that it will be easier and more streamlined. There are not going to be any changes for Extreme, though. Steps of Faith will be a solo duty. Finally. let people handle that on their own, not get it in the trial roulette anymore. I'll show a screenshot for that and some other spoilery things later on in the spoiler section, though I think I do speak for everyone who experienced that cursed trial pre-nerf when I say good riddance. As for job adjustments, we didn't hear anything specific about any particular job, and what we've heard in the live letter today is only good news, which is suspicious. I feel like we should watch out for the actual patch notes for changes that may be contained therein, changes to come. They said that they will explain why they make changes to jobs, both major and minor, and those explanations will be found on the job guide page on the Lodestone with the release of patch notes. So keep an eye out for the patch notes. But for now, we have only heard that the actions that guarantee critical or direct hits will now inflict more damage as a result of buffs and debuffs that increase crit and direct hit rates. So in the past, if you had an ability that had a that guarantees a crit, for example, you wouldn't benefit from crit increasing buffs. But now you will get a damage boost from such buffs. Same for direct hits. So you will be hitting more critical and director with the buffs. For PvP, Hidden Gorge is returning, though Yoshiyuki said that Hidden Gorge might feel different from before. Please give us your feedback. PvP Series 2 will begin with this patch, so you can expect new rewards to be rolled out for this series. The rewards from Series 1 can still be claimed until the end of Series 2. Ranked Crystal and Conflict will be adding demotion mechanics, but only to Diamond and Crystal tier. I personally think this is a good change. As someone who ranked up to Crystal in Season 1, I've noticed that once people reach that new tier and they know that they're locked in, a lot of times they don't try as much, or they just like meme around knowing that there's nothing that's going to take them out of that tier. But this does mean that Platinum will be the true elo hell. Even more than it is already. Like, Platinum's gonna be rough to climb out of. I personally suggested in the past that maybe after you rank up to like Diamond or Crystal, that after 4 to 5 consecutive losses at the bottom of a tier, that should derank you. But this is much more competitive than that. However, some good news is that if you reach Crystal even once during a season, that will be saved. So even if you get demoted, then you'll still get rewards for having reached Crystal at least that one time. So that makes it not so bad. Moving on to Island Sanctuary. So you must have completed the 6.0 story to unlock Island Sanctuary. So if you're still leveling up, you want to hop to it. You want to get to that so that one day, at the end of your journey, you will have a place to relax. Trust me, after you've done the 6.0 story, you're going to need it. Yoshiyuki showed us his Mandragora mount, which looks like something you might obtain from Island Sanctuary. It's good to know you can fly in here and you won't be planted on the ground. Yoshiyuki said that there's really not a lot of story here. It's just somebody takes you here and then leaves. Maybe it's somebody who's trying to kill you by dropping you off on a deserted island. But joke's on them, because after the final days, you turn into an off-the-grid survivalist doomsday prepper, and here you can grow your own food. You can let the rain water it. Yes, rain actually does count as having watered your crops in your little farm you can have there. And after ranking up a little bit with your island, you can get NPCs to handle all those gardening tasks. So it's not something you will have to like manually do all the time forever. You can get wood to build a house. I don't know if house is the right word. It's not technically a house. It is a town hall where you turn in resources gathered on the island for glams, which he did show us, though the white paper is really blinding. It makes it hard to see. But apparently there's also mounts that you can get. And yeah, this is a town hall, not housing. But I mean, you could live in it like a jarl, I guess. I mean, who's stopping you? He said that the early buildings are built instantly, but later on it might take 12 hours to build a building. It's time gating. You can also go into the wilds with a net and steal animals from their natural habitats to live on your ranch and apparently collect materials that they drop. Most expensive coffee beans. It's a dirty job. Somebody's got to do it. You can also name the animals you get and feed them and stuff. and your normal minions can run free on your island. We've known that for a while. You can have up to 40 out at a time meandering around your island. The glamours that I showed, by the way, those are not gender locked. Cooldowns for sprint and return will be heavily reduced in this area, and you will be able to fly very, very fast. The mouse speed will be very fast. Another thing is that whenever you gather stuff, everything goes into a separate pouch that's specific to your island, so it's not going to be cluttering up your main inventory at all. You don't need crafting or gathering unlocked for any of this. Like, this is its own completely separate thing. Other tidbits are that the buildings will look more advanced as you rank them up, but if you like the look of an older building, then you can just keep it that way. The more you build, the more island experience you will get, you know, ranking up your island through that experience. Overall, it looks like really, really chill and relaxing content. For my fellow WoW refugees, a lot of people were worried it would be like Garrisons. I think it's not so much that, but more on the vibe of like the Tiller's farm. But if there was also Pokemon, maybe it's just like a lot more to do. And it is a massive, massive zone, which appears to have a lot of depth to it. But be warned, because Yoshiyuki also said that the tutorial can take over 2.5 hours to finish. So moving on to variant dungeons. So this is level 90, casual, chill, story-based content for 1 to 4 players. It's a flexible number of people you can bring in there, and the enemy strength will be determined by party size. You can be any job. There's no role restrictions. You can change your job once you're in there, and the route of progression will branch off depending on what you do inside there. So like if you flip a switch, then you get access to, say, Route D, and then another time you would just have to go in another time to experience Route A, right? So that's how you were going to go through and explore all the different pathways, get all the different lore tidbits by going through this variant dungeon. The first one is called the Syldan Subterrane, and in this case, you're going to be traveling through with Nanamo, and you can bring in variant actions. You can actually change these within the variant dungeons. So if you get in there and you decide you need different ones, you can change that in the middle of the duty. And they're basically just there to compensate for role imbalances. So there's like a cure that's available to tank and DPS. There's a raise available to tank and DPS. There's an ultimatum available to all roles, and rampart for healer DPS, spirit dart, which is damages nearby enemies for tank and healers. Basically things that you can take in there to balance things out, so that way it's easy for you to just not feel restricted to any particular role. You can go in there with whatever you want and just adapt to the situation. Here's a screenshot of the UI, which shows some of these actions that you can choose to take with you before you go in, and there will be 12 different endings for this variant dungeon depending on what route you choose when you go in to the variant dungeon. Also, you might see some treasure chests here and there. He said the chests will be personalized, so don't forget to open your own treasure chests, but he wouldn't say exactly what's inside the chest, because he said you guys can find out what's inside these chests when you play it. He also showed the first boss of the route that he chose. Every route has 2 bosses. He did say that sometimes a boss may look the same in various routes, but that does not mean that the mechanics are the same. It looked like Nanamo was not engaging the boss, but she was standing back like outside the arena while you deal with it. Like, I hope she doesn't just stand back there and criticize my play on the boss, because that'd be like Sultana wound. Anyways, the mount reward is extremely cute. Little mouse, hamster guy. So I guess soon nothing will hamper your travel. Moving on to Criterion Dungeons. So they might look similar to variant dungeons, but they are in fact very, very, very different. The variant dungeons are chill, laid-back story mode, while Criterion Dungeons are nightmare hell mode. The Criterion Dungeons require a 4-player party. You cannot go in with less. It must comprise 1 tank, 1 healer, and 2 DPS. The route is predetermined. There are no branching pathways here. There's no NPCs to help you, to save you, or even pity you. The Criterion Dungeon, the first one, is called Another Syldan Subterrane, and also has the Savage version, Another Syldan Subterrane Savage, affectionately referred to by the community as Ass and Ass Savage. So let's talk about the regular ass. Parties of fewer than 4 players will be supplemented via matching. Normal methods of resurrection are prohibited, but every player will be granted limited use of variant Raise 2. You'll not have access to any other variant actions, but there will be limited ability to res with the duty action that you get access to. Defeated enemies do not revive after party KO. Now, as for the Savage version, this is for pre-formed parties of 4. Matching is completely unavailable for the Savage version. All methods of resurrection are prohibited. No variant actions will be available whatsoever. All defeated enemies revive after the party wipes, and enemies become much stronger if not defeated within a certain time limit. So you really, really do not want to wipe in Ass Savage. Yoshiyuki said that the bosses in the normal mode, that is regular Ass, the normal Criterion Dungeon, will feel like Savage floor 1.5, then floor 3, and then floor 4. In the Savage difficulty, not even the mob attacks have ground indicators. The Savage difficulty is definitely aimed at players that are going to clear the next Savage tier early on so they can challenge it with their good gear. So that sounds pretty intimidating and pretty, that sounds harder than I expected it to be. Yoshiyuki said a boss fight is, of course, shorter than any 8-man fight. The pace is faster. The fights were really, really fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I guess if you're scared to get into Savage at all, it might be I'm not sure, maybe it's too soon to say, but I was almost said maybe it's an easier place to start because you can just find 3 friends to go in there with you. It might be easier to find 3 people to go in there and challenge this rather than the full static. But I mean, there's already going to be a lot of statics forming for Savage. As for other miscellaneous things related to the patch, little information about adventurer plates. So right now, the adventurer plates and portraits are in a beta version, but when the patch comes, it will be the official release. They've said that though other portrait data created during the beta, which is now, will be lost, portraits linked to an adventurer plate or a gear set will remain intact after patch 6.2. So if you want to keep your adventurer portraits, you want to link it to an adventure plate or a gear set, so that way it won't be lost with the patch coming. In other news, with this patch, you will be able to request repairs from other players, both in and outside the duty. I just hope that you're not able to send requests during combat. I know you can repair your own gear during combat, but don't want to send out a repair request in the middle of a fight. The actions list will show your combos visually, and this is something that's going to be helping new players. I'm just giving a bunch of rapid fire updates here. New tomestones will be added, the new tomestones of casualty. Rare mats will be added to the ethereal reductions performed by miners, botanists, and fishers. Mats not used in crafting battle-related items. Preparations for the 7.0 graphics update include advanced implementation of optimized graphics processing, as well as a toggleable dynamic resolution function. It should be said that if you keep this feature on, the dynamic resolution function, whenever the load on the GPU is heavy, it will automatically reduce the resolution to allow to keep a higher frame rate. New housing items have been shown off, including new portraits that people totally won't build shrines around, a bale of hay for those who would like to make their house feel more like an expensive Airbnb, and a tent for the yard to house your friends who keep losing the lottery. In excellent news, the glamour dresser capacity will be doubled. It'll be 800 up from 400, though Yoshiyuki actually had the audacity to say, just because you guys have more space in the glamour dresser doesn't mean you should fill it up right away. I know you're just going to ask for more space. But we're already asking for more space. It's not even in the game yet, and I'm telling you that even 800 is not going to be enough. Just check and see how many unique glamour items are there in the game and add that many spaces. That's it. Easy. Now, some other miscellaneous announcements like merch and events and things like that. The new Paladin jacket that Yoshiyuki was wearing for the live letter is up for pre-purchase. It's 75 euros last I checked, and the site went down immediately when he showed the link on stream. So yeah, it should shelter you from the cold. The FFXIV Complete Edition is on sale in Japan. The Unending Journey Volume 1 can now be got as a digital book in Japan, and also in Japan, the Eorzean Symphony Orchestra concert's coming up with ticket sales, including a flower light that I can imagine they're distributing on purpose so that the entire crowd is just going to be like waving with the flowers around to simulate a field of glowing flowers. It's going to be really nice. It's going to be a beautiful concert for sure. The FF14 will be at PAX Australia in October. There will be some sort of live stream event next week from August 15th to 19th. Kind of light on the details, but apparently they will broadcast fluffy animals being pet in preparation for Island Sanctuary. And the patch 6.2 patch reading will be done in Japanese only, as always, by Yoshiyuki just before the patch drops August 22nd at 11 p.m. PDT. And the 8th 14-hour broadcast is announced for October 8th. The team is also hiring game designers, and they're also looking for English to Japanese and German to Japanese translators. That's it. But before I finish, I wanted to very quickly show some of those spoilery screenshots and footage. So this is a spoiler section, pictures and things that I wanted to put in here. I referred to before without showing, or I glossed over about. So yeah, Yoshiyuki showed us around the Omicron Beast Tribe area. And if you listen very closely, you can kind of hear the piano rendition up close in the distance there, which I hope we can get as an orchestral, as a reward for helping out the Omicrons.
正直言うと 6.0 アフターストーリーみたいなぐらい徹底的にストーリー作ってありますんで。
One kind of spoilery thing, depending on where you are in the story, is the screenshots they provided of the updated duty support dungeons, like Steps of Faith and things like that. I just thought I'd put this in here too, assuming that spoiler means anywhere in the story. I know this is fairly early on, but this seems like a good enough place for those screenshots. For the raid story, here's the flavor text for Asphodelos, which I'm going to read as I show some of this Asphodelos related stuff for Abyssos. After a battle hard fought, order has been restored to Asphodelos. However, the inner circles of Pandemonium remain in the grip of a mysterious force, and the remaining warders are nowhere to be found. You and your allies steel yourselves to press forward, but what awaits in those unknown depths may shake even the most steadfast resolve. Well, nothing's gonna shake my resolve to get the glam with the VFX purple fire on it. I'm gonna be there no matter what. Okay, so that's all for today's recap. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comment section down below what you're most looking forward to in the patch. I'm torn between, because like on the one hand it's Island Sanctuary, but on the other hand it's Savage. Like I'm both. I feel like this kinds of content are meant to cater to two different kinds of players, but I feel like I'm equally excited about both of those. I do think it's nice, though, that in general, I feel like the dev team makes an effort to create stuff that's going to appeal to people of all kinds of different tastes, like people who want something more laid back and more chill. We've seen that with Island Sanctuary and with like variant dungeons, and people who want a real challenge, as we know with Savage Raids and now Criterion Dungeons, and now Savage. Okay, so that's all for today. I'm going to get to editing this so I can get this video out as quick as possible. But thank you again. Oh, I wanted to mention there's merch now. There's FL HQ merch now available. I'll put a link to that in the description box as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you can support the channel by subbing on Twitch or pledging on Patreon. You can also support the channel for free by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow warriors of light. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.